Karibuni. Nita Omba. Nita Kuomba. I will pray just for a moment. Bwana Mungu, we thank you for calling us together at a distance today. We ask for your help as we try a new form of teaching. Be with us. Thank these people for coming to set all this up for us. Thank you for their skill and their love of you. We ask your blessing on this session. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, Karibuni, again, this will be our introductory distance lecture. I want to bring the Greek classes, as we say in America, up to speed, up to the point where we are now. The regular students will have a quiz on Wednesday. I'm going to cover that material and remind people again where we are at this point. We've introduced two big concepts so far. One is that words in Greek, unlike Kiswahili, unlike English, change their spelling according to the grammatical function. You can tell from the way a word is spelled how it is used in the sentence. So we had to begin by looking at nouns and verbs and seeing the way they change. And we've had this in class, but I'm going to review it starting now. So remember, two kinds of verb so far. There are more in Greek. Greek has several kinds of verb, but we've started with the two basic ones. So I'll give you an example first of a word. We use the Greek verb pharaoh. First person singular. So don't worry for right now about these what we call diacritical marks or accents that I'll put in. Just worry about the spelling. So actually from this point on today, I will not use those marks. You'll see them when you see the words written. Second person singular. Pharaohs. Now, remember, in order to conjugate a verb in Greek, you want to identify the stem and then add the endings. So it's a simple verb that means to carry or to bear, pharaoh. It's the same word in Latin. And third person singular, pharaoh. Remember, in Greek, the end of the word changes to indicate the person. These are the singular verbs, singular forms of the verb. And in Kiswahili, we change the beginning, where we add a pronoun. So for a word like speak, ni nasema, u nasema, a nasema. Greek changes the end of the word. So that is the singular, first, second, third person. Plural, singular, plural. Pharomen, pharote, pharisee. We carry, you, plural, carry, they carry. So these are the, as we do in class, you want to be able to say these almost in your sleep, automatically. Pharaoh, pharaohs, pharaoh, pharomen, pharote, pharisee. These are the basic, many, many verbs follow this form. I've also learned another kind of verb that we call contract verbs. And now we use, as an example of that, let's say the verb PUEA, which means to make. So in the dictionary, in the Kamusi, you will see the word written like that. It's a certain category or kind of verb that lengthens the vowel. And we won't worry about the phonetics behind that, but this is a kind of Greek verb. Most of the forms look the same, apart from the accent. So first person, I make, Nina Fanya, will look the same as Pharaoh, except when you see it written, it will have an accent like that. Second person, PUEA, it looks spelled just the same. The only difference is the accent, which we are not going to worry about too much right now. Okay. Third person, again the same, except for that accent, but it looks spelled just the same. The two differences are in the first person plural and the first person, and second person plural. And again, these are spelled differently. They also have a different accent. They look like this: PUEA has this extra upsilon, which we do not have there, in one extra letter, because the vowel is lengthened. In the second person plural, again, an extra vowel, so that it becomes a diphthong, PUEA, PUEA. And the third person plural looks the same, because the vowel because this vowel is already lengthened, so it's not changed. Now, that is, I hope it helps to go over that and do that conjugation. But remember that in your textbook online, by when some of you have printed the textbook, on page 25, you will see that explained and also spelled out for you. So that's page 25. And then the contract verb is explained on page 28. So I wanted to talk our way through that, and then you will be able to look in the textbook to review what I said. So after I've done a conjugation or a declension, I will erase the board. But as you're viewing this on the recording, you can always stop here and look at the, but even better again is to look at the book. You need to study both the book and my lecture to make this clear. So remember, these are the different persons and number of the verb. Okay, I'm going to erase this and then move on to now. So to this point, we've learned two kinds of verb. And the quiz on Wednesday for the regular students, I'll give you an example of this. But any verb that I give you that has this ending, you can recognize as a contract verb, is conjugated in that way. I could have given you phileo. That means I love. So we've had that verb in class. Philo, I love. Philes, you love. Philae, he loves. Philumen, we love. Philete, you plural love. And philusi, you love. So you're responsible for those two forms. Now, nouns. Nouns are declined, not conjugated. You remember the joke that I said earlier? Yeah. Nouns decline to be conjugated. And nouns want to be declined. So, again, we've had 5 different kinds of noun, which I'm going to go over. And this will bring us up to date in the class. First, masculine. 2 kinds of masculine noun. I'm going to start with a very simple one. And we use hologos. The word. So remember, when you conjugate, that's right, when you decline a noun, you also decline the article. Now, there are different kinds of noun. We've already had a couple of different kinds that look different, and there's some that look even more different that we'll get to. But they always have the same article. So we might as well start with that. You want to learn the articles, and they are on a page in your book. You'll find all the forms of the article on page 40. So page 40 is a very important page in Wenham. So you see the three genders of the article all decline. Masculine, I'll do them by gender this time. Masculine, feminine, and neuter in the singular first. So ho, hey, and toe. Now you don't have to worry about the accent mark, but remember this is the breathing mark. It means it begins with an H. So ho, not O, but ho. So ho, hey, toe. My German-speaking friends in the room would know this is der, die, and das. That was for you, Walter. You recognize it, der, die, and das. So then German has gender, French has gender, many languages do. Kiswahili does not have gender. English does not have gender. So we have to get used to this in Greek. So the genitive, this is the nominative, genitive. Now again, I apologize. Remember in the book, these genders come in, that's why the cases come in a different order. Your book likes to do nominative, vocative, which we have not studied, and then accusative, then genitive, then dative. But remember the order that we are using. This is what I learned when I studied Greek myself. So two of the feminine genitive of the possessive and some other things, and two, same as the masculine. Dative, toe, remember the iota subscript, remember the bit, so, te, also iota subscript, and toe. Tone in the accusative, tone, tain. So both the masculine and feminine have a nu on the end, and toe. Now to help you remember these, and again, page 40 is the place that this table is all set up, and one of our students put a table like this on WhatsApp, which is a good table, and that will help also. But notice that in the neuter and the masculine are the same in the singular and also plural, genitive and dative. So two, toe, toe. In the neuter, the nominative is the same as the accusative, toe, toe. So there are various ways you can remember these genders and how they're related to each other, how they're similar to each other, and that might help. Now, I will give the plural. So hoi, and here I'll go gender by gender. So ho, tone, tois, tus. And these endings will also help you remember the ending of most of the nouns you will find. Not all, but most of them. Feminine, high, tone, tice, toss. So you see that the masculine and feminine are quite similar, except a different vowel, and alpha instead of an omicron. The plural, ta, tone, tois, and ta. So in the plural also, the nominative and accusative are the same. And in all genders, the plural genitive is the same. That's the one nice form that's the same for all the genders. So you can learn to memorize these in various ways, but you can see that they all function pretty much the same way. In three genders, two numbers, singular and plural, and 8 forms in each case, nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, in both singular and plural. So I've talked my way through that, but again, look at page 40 and you can read the explanation that the book gives for the articles. So I'm erase those and do a couple downs. So logos, to me, seems the simplest. Let's just go through it very quickly. And again, in the book, so on page 30, so we can do this again almost in our sleep by now. If you like to do the articles first, let's get them out of the way. They're always going to be the same for masculine noun. So to, toe, tone. So when I took a quiz, Wakati, and Wakati, Delikuwa, Mwanafunzi, when I was a student, that's what I would do. I just get the articles down right away. Now in this case, the endings are going to be the same, not for all nouns, but for this one. So logu, of the word, I forgot that here. I forgot my iota substitute there. Logo. So in this case, the endings are the same, except for the nominative, for the what we call the oblique cases, genitive, dative, and accusative. And then hoi logoi, tone, always tone, logon, tois, logois, tous, logos. So the endings are the same. So once you have the article, you have the noun. Same ending. So that is very straightforward masculine noun. Another kind we learned that is a little less straightforward. I'm going to keep the article the same. But remember the word for prophet we get from Greek. The word in Hebrew is a couple of words, but nabi, but Greek and pro in Greek means can mean that way. And phemi means speak, so a prophet speaks out. Same article, but this looks different. Prophetes, and this is on page 43. On the quiz on Wednesday, next Wednesday, for the regular students, we'll have a noun like this, with this ending. It won't be prophetes, which is, I said, prophetes. It'll be a different noun, but with the same ending that you can recognize. Poietes, the Greek word for poet, is another noun like that. The one thing that's different about this noun is the singular genitive. And the article will be the same. And actually the ending will too in this case, but that's. So that's confusing because that looks feminine, but the next form looks masculine. It's a masculine noun. From that point on, the endings will look feminine. Prophete, that is the feminine dative, even though it's a masculine noun. Just that's the way this noun works. And then prophetein, and then in the plural, we always know to be own at the end. And then ice, as. So it's a strange feature of that noun. It looks feminine, but it is masculine. In the genitive, it does look masculine. you'll have to learn. As long as we're doing that, let me do a verb that, noun that looks feminine. That looks masculine, but is feminine. This looks feminine, but it's masculine. I remember and this is a very important word in Greek that means the way, or the path. He hodos. Feminine article, but it's masculine in form. It's just a strange feature of the Greek language. So when Jesus says, I am the way, he says, I am he hodos. I'm he aletheia, I'm the truth. He zoe, I am the light. So again, the articles will be feminine all the way down. And but the noun, and I'm including the rough breathing, hodos. So the endings are all masculine. It's masculine in form, but it's feminine in gender. We have hodoi, hodon, hodois, hodus, just as we would expect. So those two nouns are kind of anomalies. They don't look the gender that they are. They're very strange things in language. And my German-speaking friend will know that in Greek we say a child is to paidion. Da is neuter. In German, das Kind. Child is either a boy or a girl, but it's for some reason the gender. So gender does not always correspond with sex, so in languages. And so both in, I think that doesn't say much for the attitude of Germans and Greeks toward children. I think they're just things, and just objects, maybe. Okay, now a couple of other nouns. We'll do two more, verbs. No, nouns. The feminine. So we have a couple of different kinds of feminine noun, and these you also want to. I'm going to the article this time. We've done that, but your book uses an example arche, beginning, and arche in her logos. In the beginning was the word. And that's the endings we expect from the articles. So that's arche, arches, are genitive of the beginning. And here I'm using a smooth breathing. There's no H, it's arche, not harche. But this is a smooth breathing, rough breathing is an H sound. Yeah, so arche, archein. That's our singular. And just exactly the endings that the article uses. Also in the plural, archai, beginnings, archon. This is something you don't have to remember now, but in the plural genitive, the accent is always on the last syllable. Archais and archas. Okay. So same endings as in the article. Now, there's another form we learned, and that is by the way, this is on page 39. Page 39. Then on page 41, this is a feminine noun with an alpha instead of an eta. is the last word. So this is declined. And I'll let you look up the plural in the book, page 41. But again, so with a alpha throughout instead of an eta. So it's just a different kind of feminine noun. So again, to this point, basically learned two kinds of verb, a regular verb and a contract verb, two kinds of masculine noun, logos, prophetes, and two kinds of feminine noun, with the eta and with the alpha. So you should be able to conjugate or decline both those things. Now what I want to do, just for a little bit at the end, we have to go. So the first big concept we have is that the word changes spelling according to how it's used in the sentence. So if I say the logos speaks, I'll give a better example in a minute, but I say it's the same word. So logos lege. There I have the word is the subject in the sentence. The word speaks. But if I want to say he speaks the word, I might be talking about a preacher, or for instance. So I would say the same verb, third person singular, he speaks. But now, word is the object of the sentence. He speaks the word. So I need a different case. I will have to use the accusative. So lege not logos, but logon. He speaks the word. I have to use a different example, but I'm going to take the same word and use it in all four cases. So you remember I used the word truth a minute ago, hey, aletheia. It's a feminine noun. So if I want to say the truth of the word, now I'm being possessive. What truth? The truth of the word. I will say, hey, hey, aletheia is the truth of the word. Now I need a different case. I now need the genitive, because it's possessive. The truth, let me make a better sentence. I'll keep adding this sentence. So I will say, if I want to say, he speaks the truth of the word. Okay. So he speaks, and let's say the teacher. Let's make teacher the subject of the sentence. So I still start, in Greek I'll probably start with the verb, right? So lege, he speaks. I didn't do myself a verb when he speaks, right again. Didaskalos. Now, we start with the verb, who speaks the teacher. We would say, molimu anasema, right? Start with molimu, but the Greek would likely start with so lege, hodiska, but now I've got two nouns, both in the nominative case. So what does the teacher speak? He speaks the truth So I need to put that in the accusative case. That's the object, just like you were saying. I'll have to change that to pain and aletheon. So I have to change that from the nominative to the accusative case. The teacher speaks the truth of the word. Now, to whom does he speak the truth? Let me add another one more word. So, the teacher speaks the truth of the word to the students. So we have a nominative case for the subject, accusative case for the object, genitive case for the possessive of the word, and dative for to. Mathetais is a good word to use here because in the singular it is mathetes, like prophetes. It's a masculine noun that has an eta, so that it looks odd, but the article looks masculine. It is a masculine noun, but the dative looks feminine. It looks like they don't agree, but they do, because that's the kind of noun, mathetes. That's where we get our word mathematics. And mathetes means a student. So in the New Testament, Jesus is often referred to as didaskalos. And the disciples, we translate that as disciples, or as students. So the disciples will often look at Jesus say, didaskale. That's in the vocative case, which we haven't learned. And in Hebrew, it'd be a rabbi. It's a translation of the word Hebrew, rabbi, which means my teacher. In Hebrew, the possessive is indicated by that's the way the Hebrew is Eli, my God. And sorry, not quite, can't remember. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that one. That Eli would be the Hebrew for Rabbi. Yeah. Now I think that's enough for today. I could go through several more sentences. Maybe some other time, if it's not too much trouble for setting things up, I could take some sentences in Greek and translate them for you. If you don't mind, let me just do one, and then we'll finish after that. Let me find one in the book to use. So the exercises at the end of each chapter contain sentences for you to translate. And let me get the glasses and see if I can pick one good one. Those in my pocket. Okay. Pick a good one from lesson 9. Yeah, this looked hard. Okay, let's just do one. So you can see, you can figure out the word as we go. I'll use one capital letter. See if you can, as you're watching, see if you can sound this, or this is a person's name. See if you can sound it out. You have pi, or P, E, very important person in the Bible. Tau, or T, a rho, or R, and this is the Greek ending. So P, E, T, we would add an E, so Petros, or Peter. So again, Peter's name means rock in Greek. The sentence, Petros uloge, Now, you don't know this verb yet, but we'll figure it out. You can tell from the way it's spelled, it's a contract verb. So if you saw this word in the Kamusi, in the Greek dictionary, it would be this. It's a contract verb. So it would be ulogo, uloges, uloge, ulogumen, ulogete, ulogusi, if we're conjugating the verb. Many Greek verbs are composed of two words. And remember, this prefix u means good or well. We know logos, we know that's there. So this means a good word. At a funeral, very often people offer a eulogy. I don't know if you know that word in English, but that comes from this word euloge. You say something good about the deceased. This is the verb form to praise. So we'll just translate that as praise. Peter praises. Okay, let's get started. McCutcheon. Now again, we've had that in class. Remember, that's the Greek word for Lord. It's in the accusative case. Subject, object. Peter praises the Lord. Now here's the word that it's hard to read. Tonkorium, case, gaze. So even if we don't know what the word means yet, we recognize that as feminine, singular, genitive. Of the, gay in Greek means earth. Is our word geology. And that's another good example of the Greek word, gaze. A logos about the gaze, a word about the gaze is geology. Kai, that's our word, and it's out into sentence. Yeah. It's a good word for us to learn one new word, the thalassa. Thalassa. And these sentences, by the way, are on page 42. Page 42, you can find this. That's a word for sea, or ocean. So this sentence, again, with a nominative case for the subject, accusative case for the object, and genitive case for the possessor. So Peter praises the Lord of the earth and of the sea. Genitive. Okay, that can be one example to end with. So in later sessions I will do some more translation with you, but I hope that's a good review. We'll prepare the regular students for Wednesday and bring the ODL students up to where we are now in class. It does some other things, but those are the most important. Asante Sana.